Disclaimer: this is an imaginary story. Please don't relate it with any idol or any other person. It's nothing related to anyone's life. It's pure work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. It's a Notice 7 story. If you are soloist and can't see other members, then this story isn't for you. You are on wrong channel. Watch the story carefully, then comment. Be respectful and don't embarrass yourself. Whatever pics are shown in this story, they all have been taken from Google and Pinterest. The credit for them goes to their real owner. Storyline and voice are mine, so please don't copy that. The giant black iron gate of the mafia mansion slowly opened as two expensive black cars entered, one after another. Dark clouds covered the night sky while the cold wind brushed through the empty roads. Inside the first car, the mafia leader, Kim Namjoon, sat tiredly while adjusting his glasses and checking a file. In the driver's seat, Kim Taeyang was driving the car while Kim Yoongi sat beside him with his eyes closed. Inside the second car, the eldest mafia brother, Kim Seokjin, sat in the passenger seat while talking on a call. Ho Seok was driving and Jungkook was busy on his laptop. One by one, they stepped out of their cars and stretched their tired bodies. They were about to open the mansion door when T suddenly noticed a large carton box near the doorstep. He stopped in his tracks, Cook bumping into him. T, what are you doing? Why did you stop all of a sudden? My laptop almost fell. T, can't you walk properly while looking ahead? Yoongi, T, open the door already. I'm extremely sleepy. You two can continue your fight later. I seriously don't have the energy to watch your nonsense arguments right now. Jin, why are you scolding him? You could have said that without sounding so rude. Yoongi, can't you see what they are doing instead of opening the door? Hobby, T, hurry up and open the door. T, Hyang, when did I refuse to open it? None of you are listening to me. I didn't stop here for no reason. Cook, what do you mean by you didn't stop yourself? Did some invisible force stop you or something? T, looking at Cook with annoyed eyes. Can't you see that huge garden box near the door? June, removing his glasses. A carton box? What's it doing here? Jin, turning toward the guards. Guard, come here. Guard, yes sir. Jin, who left this carton box here? Guard looked at the box with confused eyes. I don't know, sir. Yoongi, what do you mean you don't know? Do we pay you to sleep here? Someone left such a huge carton box right at our doorstep while you were standing guard, and you are saying you have no idea? How's that even possible? Guard, I'm really sorry, sir, but I seriously don't know how this carton box got here. Cook, grabbing guard's collar. So you won't open your mouth this easily, Fine then, your bone will answer for you instant. About to punch him. Hobie, placing a hand on Cook's shoulder. Relax, Cook. There is no need to break someone's bone every single time. Cook, but Hyang. Hobie, let me handle this. Looked at the guard. Did you leave the gate open and go somewhere? Guard, no sir, I have been standing here since morning. I didn't leave the gate open even for a minute and I didn't go anywhere. Jin, then how did someone leave such a huge carton box here? Yungi, where's the other guard? Guard. His health suddenly got worse, so I sent him to the hospital with the driver. Ah, now I remember. Maybe someone left this carton box here while I was helping him onto the car. Yungi, who could it be? T. Maybe one of our enemies? We have no shortage of enemies. Cook, but nobody knows the location of our house. Jin, instead of making guesses, it's better if we open the carton box and check what's inside. Hobie, good idea, let me check. June, Hobie Hang, stop. I will check it myself. Yungi, June, be careful. There could be a bomb inside. June, don't worry, Hang. I will be careful. Everyone, step back. Everyone is stepped away while June slowly approached the carton box. He placed his ear against it, trying to hear any sound coming from inside, but there was complete silence. When he didn't hear any tickling sound, he carefully opened the box fully and froze. Inside the carton box, a little boy was sleeping peacefully while tightly hugging his penguin pulsing. Hobie, what happened, June? What's inside? Jin, any dangerous weapon or something else? T, are there clothes or some other stuff inside? June, no, there is nothing harmful here. Yungi looked at Cook. Did you order something online? Cook, why are you looking at me with these suspicious eyes? I didn't order anything online, and even if I did, why would I act surprised after seeing the box? Hobie, then what could it be? Jin, June, what's inside it? June, there is a baby sleeping peacefully inside. Everyone shocked. A baby? Everyone quickly walked towards the carton box and got shocked to see a baby sleeping in a box while hugging a penguin pulsing. June, a baby. Look. Cook, but whose baby is he? Hobie, and why would someone leave him here? T, just look at his chubby pink cheeks and lips. He looks like a doll. Yungi, will all of you stop talking and think about what we should do now? Jin, let's take him inside first. June, about to pick up the carton box. Cook, leave it hang. If you accidentally drop him, we will have to rush him to the hospital. June looked at him. Why do you think I will drop him? Yungi, because of your past record. Move aside. Cook will carry him inside. T opened the door and one by one everyone entered inside. Yungi immediately removed his trench coat and threw it on the couch before sitting down. Cook carefully placed the carton box on the floor. Jin, he's sleeping so peacefully. Yungi, maybe he is in deep sleep. Hobie, let's check the CCTV footage. We will find out who left him here. Cook, good idea. I will check the CCTV footage. June, I will check if someone left a note inside the box. T, while pressing baby's cheeks. His cheeks are so soft and fluffy. They checked the CCTV footage and saw a woman with her face covered leaving the carton box there before quickly leaving. June didn't find any note inside the box. Because T kept poking his cheeks, the baby slowly woke up and sat up. Hobie, so you finally woke him up. T, sorry, I was just touching his cheeks. Baby cutely rubbed his eyes and looked at everyone.
Who you? Mini sleepy sleepy, briggy briggy.
Cute pout. Yungi, what language did he just speak? He looks like he is from here, but why is he speaking some different language? June smiled a little. He isn't speaking a different language, he is speaking our language, but maybe still can't form proper sentences completely. I think he is asking who disturbed his sleep. Jin, oh, if he can't speak properly, then how will we understand his language? Hobie looked at the baby. Who are you? What's your name? Do you know where your house is? Baby looked at Hobie.
Name? Minnie.
Cutely cupped his face.
Cute Minnie.
Cook. So his name is Minnie. Jin. Minnie, do you know where your home is? Minnie
Home?
looked around.
Minnie home? Sweet home? Minnie sleepy sleepy sweet home? Sweet home dashy dashy run run Minnie sleepy sleepy. Minnie home hidey hidey boom.
Dramatically closed his eyes. Yungi, what did he say now? T. Maybe he's saying he wants to sleep again. Go to sleep, Minnie. Nobody will disturb you. Minnie shook his head vigorously.
No, Minnie no sleepy sleepy. Minnie sleepy sleepy bye bye dashy dashy run Minnie out.
Yungi, first of all, nobody knows what language you are speaking, and on top of that, you speak so fast, nobody understands anything. How can someone have this much energy immediately after waking up? Looked at Minnie. Hey kid, we can't understand whatever you are saying, so either speak properly or stay quiet. Jin, stop scolding him. He is very small. How will he speak properly? Yungi, if he is small and can't speak properly, then how is that our fault? How are we supposed to understand his non-understandable language? Minnie looked around before grabbing June's index finger with his tiny hand and stepped out of the carton box while hugging his penguin Percy in his other arm. He tried pulling June but couldn't move him. Cook, have you seen your size and June Hyang's size? You are like an ant. Why are you trying to pull him? Minnie,
Minnie no aunt. Minnie cute Minnie. Minnie talkie no you. Minnie taking big body. Kitty talkie Minnie kitty.
Yungi, frustrated. Ah! Again he is speaking some unknown language so fast. Aunt, kitty, big body. What even are those? Minnie looked at Yungi.
Dumb kitty no Minnie talkie.
Yungi, dumb? Now who is dumb here? T, while sitting on the floor. Yungi Hang, please stop jumping into conversation. Let me try to understand him. You're ruining my conversation. Hobie, why does he keep looking at June after saying something? Minnie,
Big body help Minnie talkie no talkie Minnie dumb kitty touch feet Minnie.
dramatically held his tiny forehead. Yungi, trust fate? What is that now? Why can't this boy speak in simple language? And why is he holding his forehead like that? Did he get a headache? T, should I bring medicine? Jin, but can we even give medicine to such a small child? I don't think so. Cook, what if we give him medicine in powder form? I will crush the medicine. Hobie, good idea. Go and bring the medicine for him. Minnie,
No ew.
make a face. Yungi, what? You want to vomit? Not here. T, take him to the washroom. T immediately carried Minnie in his arms. Come, Minnie, let me take you to the washroom. Minnie pulled Tee's hair,
Minnie, no, ew, leave Minnie.
looked at June.
Big body, help Minnie. Be a ticky Minnie, ew.
Jungi looked around himself. Bear? Where is the bear? First aunt, then kitty, and now bear. Does he only see animals everywhere? Minnie shouted loudly.
Kitty.
Hobie covered his ears. How can such a tiny body have such a loud voice? My ears are bleeding because of him. June smiled while trying to figure things out. Relax, guys, he doesn't have a headache. No need to bring medicine, and he didn't want to vomit either. Jin, then why did he make a face like he was about to throw up? June, maybe because of the medicine? Jungi, and what about him seeing animals and calling them here? June, he isn't seeing any animal nor is he calling them. Cook, then what are Aunt, Kitty, and Bear? June, Cook, you said he was as tiny as Aunt, so he replied that he isn't Aunt, he is Minnie, and T, he is calling you Bear. Jin, and Kitty? June looked at Hyungi. Kitty? Hyungi, why are you looking at me like that? Oh, so this little chick called me a kitty? Seriously? Walked towards T and grabbed Minnie's shirt. You called me a kitty? Do you even know I'm a mafia king? Minnie bit Hyungi's hand to free his shirt.
Kitty Kingdom. No touchy, cute Minnie.
Glittered Hyungi. Hyungi, looked at the tiny teeth mark on the back of his palm. This little chick's teeth are very sharp. Minnie proudly,
No mess Minnie. Minnie so strong.
showed his teeth. Hobie, he is really cutie. I don't understand his language, but whatever he says sounds adorable. Cook, but what should we do with him? T looked at Jin. Jin Hyang, can't we keep him with us? He is so cute. Hyungi, no way. This chatterbox chick can't stay here. Minnie,
No go. Kitty King go. Dashi run out. Minnie stay Bear.
hugged her tightly.
Sweet home.
June, he said he won't go anywhere. He will stay here with T. Hyungi, I will see how he won't leave. Grabbed Minnie's tiny hand. Minnie screamed loudly in Hyungi's ear. Hyungi immediately let go of his hand. He made my ears bleed. Hobie, I don't think keeping him in our house will cause any problem. He is so tiny, he can fit comfortably in any corner of our house. Looked at Jin. What do you say, Hyang? Jin, you are right. Let him stay here for now. Later we will decide what to do with him. Hyungi, fine, but keep him at least 10 feet away from me. Angrily left. Minnie happily clapped.
Yay! Kitty King dashi run out. Minnie win.
Cook, he is so happy. T, Minnie, let's go to my room. Minnie,
Wati. Minnie come. Bear.
T carried Minnie and left. June looked at Cook. Cook, find out about the woman who left Minnie here. Cook, okay, Hang. Time skipped after 3 days. 3 days had passed since Minnie started living with them. The Mafia brothers had never taken care of a child before. Minnie was extremely naughty and talkative. He always wanted to help everyone, but unknowingly ended up creating more trouble and frustrating them instant. During these 3 days, the Mafia brothers had realized one thing very clearly: taking care of a child wasn't their cup of tea. Minnie's little antics, which had seemed cute at first, were now starting to annoy them. They had absolutely no patience. Hobie, walking through the balcony while talking on the phone. Yeah, I will be there tomorrow. Did you get the file? Okay, tell me about the deal. Hobie was talking on the phone while Minnie sat on the top of his right foot and hugged his right leg tightly. For Minnie, this was the most fun swing ever. Hobie had already told him many times to let go, but Minnie refused to listen. Hobie, just wait a second. Put the call on hold and look down. Minnie, get up. I can't talk like this. Minnie, hugging his leg even tighter.
Minnie so happy. Why Hobie stop walkie? Minnie no go. Minnie love Oba.
Hobie, Since Minnie refused to move, Hobie resumed his call and continued walking with the tiny child hugging from his leg. Hobie, nothing, you continue. Jin entered the kitchen after a tiring day, planning to prepare dinner. However, the moment he stepped inside, he froze. The entire kitchen was a disaster. Nothing was in its place. Every shelf was open, every ingredient was scattered, and right in the middle of the chaos stood Minnie, trying to do something. Jin, furious, nearly got a heart attack. What the hell is this? Minnie, what are you doing in my kitchen? Why did you scattered everything everywhere? Do you know how tired I am? Now, should I cook food or clean all this mess? Ever since you came here, the entire house has been turned upside down. Minnie,
Minnie no dirty kitchen. Minnie help
Jin, completely losing his temper. Didn't you hear what I just said? Get out of here! Minnie immediately lowered his head with a sad pout,
Sorry.
quietly walked away. Cook, tea, have you seen my phone or laptop anywhere? I clearly remember leaving them on the table before taking a shower, but now they are gone. Tea, I don't know. My phone, laptop, wallet, everything is missing too. I have been looking for them for so long. I couldn't find my glasses. My head is aching since the morning. Help me find my glasses. Cook, okay. Suddenly they heard a loud explosion like sound. Without wasting another second, both of them ran towards the laundry room. There they found Minnie standing near the door in fear. Sparks were shooting out from the washing machine plug. Strange cursing sounds were coming from inside the machine. Cook immediately rushed towards the main switch and turned off the electricity before unplugging the machine. T opened the washing machine. Inside were their phones, their laptops, their wallets, T's glasses, and many other household items, all completely destroyed. Both of them slowly turned towards Minnie. Cook, Minnie, how did all these things end up inside the washing machine? Minnie,
Minnie help cookie cleaning. Minnie put dirty things machine. Now no dirty, only clean.
T widened his eyes. You stupid! Who told you to put all these things inside the washing machine? You destroyed everything. Cook, holding Minnie's hand. Do you realize the house could have caught fire because of you? Get lost from here. Minnie, bursting into tears,
Johnny.
ran away crying. June was watering his precious plants. While talking on the phone, Minnie quietly came there searching for him. He saw June on call and didn't disturb him. June, yeah, I know. That file is in my room. Wait, I will send you the data. Prepare the report fast. Jungi Hang doesn't like mistake. Fix everything before he even knows about it. He placed the watering can on the ground and walked inside. Wallace, still talking, Minnie slowly came at June's place near the plants where a few moments ago June was watering the plants. Minnie,
help, big body, beautiful flowers, hungry.
looked at the flower pots.
No worry, Minnie, water, beautiful flowers.
Tried lifting the watering cane, but it was too heavy for him.
Water, happy.
Looked at the flower pots.
Beautiful. Flowers, no sad. Minnie, no hungry, beautiful flowers. Minnie, tinky, fast.
Placed his index finger on his temple, acting like thinking.
Minnie, tinky, fast. Beautiful flowers, hungry.
Noticed the garden horse.
Idea.
His eyes sparkled. He immediately ran to garden horse with his tiny baby feet and turned on the tap fully. He tried to hold the horse, but unfortunately the horse was so powerful for his tiny body. The strong water pressure made it fly wildly everywhere. Minnie desperately tried controlling it but failed badly. Horse was wildly dancing in the garden, destroying everything present in the garden. A few moments later, June returned and froze to see garden's condition. The entire garden was flooded. Most flower pots had overflowed. The soil had washed away. Several rare plants had broken from the force of the water, and in the middle of the destruction, Minnie stood covered from head to toe in the mud and water, still trying to wrestle with the horse. June immediately shut off the water. June, furious. Minnie, what's all this? You completely ruined the garden. Do you know how expensive and rare these flowers were? It took me so much effort to grow them. You destroyed everything in a single moment. Minnie,
no hurt, beautiful flowers. Minnie only help big body. What the beautiful flowers. Beautiful flowers, hungry. Minnie.
June, be quiet. Stop making excuses. You ruined everything. Leave right now. Minnie, eyes filled with big fat tears,
Sorry.
ran away. Jungi had a high fever. He was sleeping under a thick blanket after taking the medicine. The fan was turned off. Sweat covered his entire body. Minnie entered the room and saw Jungi in sweat. Minnie,
Kitty King hot.
wiped Jungi's forehead.
Kitty King forehead cry.
Innocently blew air on him, but nothing changed.
Kitty King forehead, no stop cry. Minnie help Kitty King forehead, no cry. What Minnie do?
Things hard.
Minnie tinky fast.
Suddenly his eyes light up.
Idea.
He immediately ran away and returned a few minutes later carrying a bottle of cold water from the refrigerator. He had added some ice cubes that Tea had prepared for milkshake.
Minnie, Kitty King, no hot. Minnie, cool, Kitty King. Kitty King, forehead, no cry. Kitty King, happy. Minnie, happy too.
Without hesitation, he poured the entire bottle directly onto Yoongi's face. Ice cubes slipped inside Yoongi's shirt. The blanket became soaking wet. Yoongi woke up shivering violently, gasping air. He saw Minnie happily jumping and clapping nearby. Minnie jumping and clapping.
Yay! Kitty King, no hot. Kitty King, cool. Minnie, cool. Kitty King, yay!
Yoongi stood up in anger. What the hell did you do? How dare you to pour ice water on me? Who do you think you are? Minnie cutely cupped his face with his both hands.
Cute Minnie.
Yoongi immediately threw the empty water bottle on the floor. You aren't cute. You are a troublemaker. Pulled his own hair. Ever since you came here, I have neither been able to live peacefully nor sleep. What do you want from me? Minnie, scared.
Minnie only help.
Yoongi, I don't want to see your face. Get out and don't you dare to come here again. Go. Minnie flinched hard.
So sorry.
Quickly ran out of the room while sobbing hard. Late at night, all 6 Mafia brothers gathered in the living room. Every one of them looked exhausted and frustrated because of Minnie. Jin, that's enough now. I can't clean that huge kitchen every single day, and I can't keep cooking 10 different kinds of meal either. I'm completely exhausted. Minnie's mischief has gone far. Hobby, exactly, Hang. Minnie doesn't let me do any work at all. Whenever I try to do something, he comes and sticks to me like a monkey. Because of him, I can't get anything done. Yoongi, he poured ice water all over me. I was already sick and now I have a cold too. My head is killing me because of it.
Achoo. These sneezes.
June, he destroyed my garden. I only went to my room for a few seconds to send some data from a file, and in that short time he ruined my entire garden so badly that I can't even do gardening there anymore. T. He put all our gadgets into the washing machine and turned it on. I don't even know how he managed to reach the switch. Because of him, all our gadgets were destroyed. I had to buy a new phone and laptop. Cook, the house could have caught fire because of him. Anything could have happened. That's enough. We can't live with him anymore. I thought he was just a little kid, but he isn't a little kid. He is a walking disaster. Hobby, none of us can take responsibility for him. Yoongi, it would be better for everyone if we send him away. June, ever since he came into our life, our peaceful life has turned into hell. He can't stay here for even one more second. T. Why don't we leave him at an orphanage? Cook, yeah, that sounds right. That's where he belongs. Why should we carry someone else's responsibility? Jin, fine then, we will leave him at the orphanage, far away from here, somewhere he can never come back to us again. Hobby, Minnie is asleep right now. This is the perfect time to leave him there. His sleep is very deep. Yoongi stood up. Fine, let's go and get rid of this problem once and for all. Once he leaves from here, our life will become peaceful again. I'm fed of his high pitched, irritated voice. With that, they carefully let the sleeping Minnie inside the big basket and left him at the doorstep of the distant orphanage. After ringing the bell, they returned home. They thought they had finally gotten rid of their problems. They thought their lives would become peaceful again. They thought nobody would be there to bother them anymore. But none of them could sleep. They kept tossing and turning in their beds. The same Minnie whom they had considered a burden and abandoned outside the orphanage was now the only thing on their minds. Suddenly, dark cloud roared loudly across the sky. A powerful clap of thunder echoed through the night. Minnie instantly jolt awake. When he realized he wasn't inside the mafia mansion, panic filled his tiny heart. He quickly climbed out of the basket and looked around, but there was nobody. Fear completely took over him. He began running along the road while desperately searching for them. Minnie.
Ginny, Kitty King, Opa, Big Party, Bear, Cookie, Mini Scared. Ah!
A loud thunder cracked across the sky and Minnie flinched hard.
Ginny!
Soon heavy rain began pouring from the sky. Hailstones started falling as well. Minnie became even more terrified. He ran towards the side of the road and curled himself beneath a tree. Hugging his tiny body tightly, he cried loudly while calling for those 6 people he trusted most. Minnie.
Ginny, Opa, Bear, Big Party, Kitty King, Cookie.
But nobody came, nobody answered him, nobody heard him. The orphanage where the mafia brothers had left him had actually been shut down several days earlier. All the children had already been transferred elsewhere. The building was completely abandoned. Slowly, the rain became even heavier. Water started flooding the road. Minnie didn't understand what happened. Where had everywhere disappeared? Why was he alone? Why wasn't anyone coming for him? He sat there trembling, looking here and there on the empty, dark road, hoping somebody would come and pick him up. Cold winds blew mercilessly against his tiny body. He was freezing. His clothes became completely soaked, his lips trembled, his small hands shook uncontrollably. Still, he kept waiting for someone to come. He slowly fell on the muddy ground, still whispering Mafia Brother's name. Minnie curled up.
Ginny, baby body, Hoba, Kitty King, Bear, Cookie, Mini Scared, come fast, Minnie, cool.
The exhausted little boy lost consciousness. The relentless rain completely drenched him. His tiny eyes slowly closed while waiting for the Mafia brothers who never came. Inside the Mafia mansion, each Mafia brother stood alone near a window or balcony of their respective rooms while watching the heavy rain and hailstorm. And all of them were thinking about Minnie, whom they abandoned. Jin, looking outside at the rain. The rain suddenly became so heavy. Minnie should be okay, right? Of course, he will be okay. He must be happy there with children his own age. He probably doesn't even remember us anymore. But what if he's calling for us? Yungi, I have never seen rain this heavy before. The entire city is flooded. The thunder is so loud. Minnie is so scared of thunder. He gets frightened even when he hears it on TV. How is he managing there? What if nobody is able to handle him? Hobby, the rain is getting worse. The temperature has dropped too. The orphanage must have warm blankets and clothes for him. There are so many children there. They must be taking good care of him. We don't need to worry. But what if they aren't? June, I wonder what Minnie is doing right now. He can't even sleep without his penguin Pulsey. His penguin Pulsey is still here. He must be looking for it. What if he got scared after not finding us there? T. Someone must have opened the orphanage door, right? Of course they did. Cook rang the bell twice. Orphanage exists to take in abandoned children. Minnie must be fine there. There will be lots of children like him. But what if other kids are bothering him? Cook. And what if nobody heard the bell? What if nobody opened the door? Minnie would be outside in this heavy rain. No, that can't be true. Someone must have taken him inside. Nobody would leave such a small child outside. Minnie must be okay. But what if he isn't? I need to go there and check once. I will only feel relieved after seeing him with my own eyes. One by one, without informing anyone else, they all left the mansion and drove towards the orphanage. The road was completely flooded. Eventually, their cars became stuck in the water. Without caring about themselves, they continued on foot through the storm. When they finally reached the orphanage, they were shocked to find each other standing there. Jin, what are all of you doing here? Yunki, I couldn't sleep. I was worried about Minnie. Hobby, me too. That's why I came here to check whether someone took him inside or not. June, I came for the same reason. I'm sorry. I know I was the one who agreed to leave him here, but I couldn't stop worrying about him. T. Yang, look, the basket is still here. Jin looked at an empty basket filled with water. Maybe they only took Minnie inside and left the basket outside. Cook pressed doorbell. Why is nobody opening the door? Is everything okay? Hobby, looking around. I can't see anyone nearby. June walked towards the window and broke it open. He looked inside in the flashlight of his mobile and his face instantly turned pale. June, guys, it's completely dark here. Everyone froze. There is nobody inside. It's dusty. Jin, then Minnie? If nobody is here, then? Yungi, where is Minnie? That means he was outside in this storm the whole time. Heart sank. T, let's search nearby. He must be hiding somewhere around here to escape the rain. With that, all of them began searching for Minnie in the middle of the heavy rain and hailstorm. They searched every corner around the orphanage, every road, every alley, every shelter. every tree, but Minnie was nowhere to be found. For the first time in a very long time, they were terrified. They were mafias, men who had faced guns, bloodshot, and death countless times, yet none of those things had ever scared them as much as this moment. They searched for Minnie like madmen, calling his name over and over again, desperately praying that they would find him. After searching for what felt like forever, something caught their attention beneath a last tree. Everyone froze, their hearts dropped. They began walking towards it. None of them wanted to believe that they were seeing. They silently prayed that it wasn't Minnie because the entire area was flooded with muddy water. The rain continued pouring mercilessly. T shakingly turned on the phone's flashlight. The light fell upon the small figure beneath the tree, and his world stopped. T was trembling. No, it was Minnie. He was covered completely in rainwater and mud. His tiny body lay motionless. There wasn't a single movement, not even a twitch. His body looked frozen from the cold. Seeing him like that made everyone's breath stop. T immediately rushed forward and pulled Minnie into his arms. T. Minnie! Minnie! Gently patted his cheeks. Minnie! Open your eyes! Look! We are here! Minnie! Yoongi, why he isn't moving? T looked at Yoongi with tearful eyes. His entire body has gone cold. Hobie, we need to get him to the hospital immediately. Jin, give Minnie to me quickly. T immediately handed Minnie to Jin. Without wasting a second, Jin pulled Minnie inside his coat and pressed his tiny child tightly against his chest. He desperately rubbed Minnie's back, trying to warm him up with his own body heat. Jin, come on, Minnie, stay with us, please. Jin started running as fast as he could, ignoring the rain, the hail, the freezing cold, waterlogging everything. All he cared about was the tiny child in his arms. The others immediately followed behind him. All 6 mafias ran through the storm towards the hospital, and for the first time they realized something terrifying. They weren't afraid of losing a burden, they were afraid of losing Minnie. The sliding glass door of the hospital burst open. All 6 mafia brothers rushed inside, completely soaked in rainwater and mud, leaving wet footprints across the spotless white floor. Jin was cleansing Minnie tightly against his bare chest beneath his coat, desperately trying to share his body heat with the freezing child. The coat itself was completely soaked. Jin, doctor, 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 it's an emergency. The hospital was crowded with people. The storm outside was still raging. So many discharged patients and their families were waiting for the rain to stop before leaving. Without wasting a second, the brothers scattered around through the emergency department searching for a doctor. June rushed into the nearby ward and found a doctor speaking with a patient. Without explanation, he grabbed the doctor by his arm and dragged him outside. Doctor, leave me. What are you doing? June, doctor, I don't have time to answer your questions. Just come quickly. Yoongi, doctor, look at him. He isn't opening his eyes. His body has gone numb. Jin carefully opening the coat and showed Minnie. Doctor, please check him. Doctor, oh my god. He immediately placed two fingers against Minnie's neck. The pulse was dangerously slow, weak, and irregular. The doctor's face became serious. He quickly turned around. A nearby nurse, Doctor, nurse, called pediatric down here right now. Tell them we have a critical pediatric hypothermia case. Prepare the trauma bay and get everything ready for emergency infusion. Move! Before the brothers could even process what was happening, several nurse and hospital staff rushed towards them. They carefully took the unconscious Minnie from Jin's arm, placing him onto a stretcher and immediately wheeled him away. Jin instantly tried following, but the medical team was already moving too fast. Within seconds, the double door closed behind them. The heavy door cut off the brothers' view of Minnie's completely. Silence filled the hallway. The doctor turned towards him. Doctor, what happened to him? Jin, he was caught in a heavy rain and hailstorm. Doctor, exactly how long was he outside? Maybe around an hour. We found him under a tree surrounded by water. Doctor, eyes widened in disbelief. An hour? Are you people insane? He is a tiny child, probably only 2 or 3-year-old. A child his age doesn't have enough body fat for a mature temperature regulation system to survive a storm like that. His core body temperature has dropped dangerously low. His lungs are filling with fluid. His heart is literally fighting to keep breathing. Who leaves a toddler outside in a storm long enough to his body to start shutting down? His condition is extremely critical. If we can't raise his body temperature and secure his airways quickly, his heart may stop. Jin, voice shaking. Please save him. I beg you. T, we are ready to do anything. We will pay every hospital bill. Hobie, bring the best specialist. We do whatever is necessary to save him. Doctor looked at T. If money could save lives, nobody would ever die. Looked at Jin. Now you are begging. But when this child needed your attention, where were you? He is in this condition because the adults responsible for him failed him. The words hit them harder than any bullet ever could. The doctor then turned towards Hobie. And don't try to teach me how to do my job. We will do everything possible to save him. Now go complete the paperwork and pay the admission fee. Excuse me. The door turned around and quickly walked towards the emergency unit, leaving 6 guilt-ridden mafia brothers standing frozen outside the ICU door for the first time in their lives. They wished someone would point a gun at them instant, because the guilt they were feeling right now hurt far more than any bullet ever could. Time skipped after 2 hours. 2 extraordinary hours had passed. The brothers had refused to leave the hallway. They paced back and forth relentlessly, still drenched in freezing water. The mud on their expensive shoes had already begun to dry. Nobody spoke. Every one of them was drowning in guilt. The heavy double door opened. A woman wearing dark green scrub and a white coat stepped outside. The moment they saw her, everyone rushed towards her at once. Joan, how's Minnie now? Cook, he is breathing, right? Hobie, you saved him, didn't you? T, can we meet him? Jin, did he regain consciousness? Everyone started questioning. At the same time, they didn't even give her a chance to speak. Far away from the group, Jungi sat alone on a chair. His head was lowered. His hands were tightly clasped together. He wanted to ask about Minnie. He desperately wanted to know how the child was doing, but he couldn't gather the courage. Chief doctor, I need some medicine and injection immediately. Showed them a prescription. They aren't available in our hospital pharmacy. You will need to bring them from outside. T took the prescription. I will get them. Cook, T, I'm coming with you. Both immediately left. June, Doctor, Minnie. Chief doctor, come on my cabin, we need to talk. Left. Hobie placed a hand on Jungi's shoulder. Yang, let's go. The doctor wants to talk about Minnie. Jungi, still looking down. You all go, I'm fine here. June, but Yang. Jin, leave him here. Let's go talk to the doctor. Chief doctor, please have a seat. Jin, June, and Hobie sat immediately. I'm Dr. Harris, the pediatric intensive care specialist. Jin, Dr. Harris, how's Minnie now? Please give us some good news. Dr. Harris gave a tired smile. He is alive, but he is still in a profoundly critical condition. I need all of you to listen carefully so you fully understand what we are dealing with. Jin, June, Hobie slowly nodded. Okay, doctor. Their hearts sank after hearing that Minnie was still critically ill. Dr. Harris pulled out a clipboard containing Minnie's reports and chest x-ray. She placed them on the table. Dr. Harris, when he arrived, his core body temperature was only 26 degrees Celsius. This is severe, life-threatening hypothermia. His heart rate had dropped into the 30s. Fortunately, the emergency room team successfully stabilized his temperature using active core techniques. His heart is beating more stably for now. However, his lungs are the real problem. Turn the clipboard towards them and showed a digital chest x-ray. Because he remained unconscious outside during the storm, he couldn't protect his airway. He experienced a significant amount of freezing contaminant rainwater into his lungs. This triggered pediatric acute respiratory distress syndrome, also known as PARDS. June. What does that mean, doctor? Dr. Harris, it means his lungs suffered a severe inflammatory reaction because of the cold and dirty water. The tiny air sac in his lungs called are filling with blood. They are extremely inflamed. His lungs have become very stiff. They can no longer transfer oxygen into the bloodstream properly. When we checked his oxygen had dropped into the 60s. He was actively suffocating. To keep him alive, we had to medically take him his breathing. My team has completely a breathing tube had been inserted through his mouth, past his vocal cord and into his lungs. He is now completely and connected to a medically ventilator in the pediatric ICU. Jin, can the machine cure him? Dr. Harris, no, the ventilator does not cure PRDS. It only gives his body time to fight. The machine force oxygen into his lungs and keep his organ alive while we treat the underlying damage. The next 24 to 28 hours are extremely critical. In many cases, this condition gets worse before it gets better. He is receiving powerful blood spectrum antibiotic to prevent severe pneumonia. We are also using high pressure ventilator setting to keep his lungs from collapsing. He is very small boy and right now his lungs are fighting a massive war. At this moment he is completely dependent on the machine. Hobie, can we see him? Just one please. Dr. Harris, I'm sorry, you can't meet him. Jin, we promise we won't disturb anyone. We just want to see him. Dr. Harris, I understand how worried you are, but he is highly valuable to infection right now. June, can't we see him from outside? We won't go near him. We will just look at him from a distance. Dr. Harris tapped the pen on the desk and thought for a few moments. Fine, you may go to the pediatric ICU and see him through the observation glass. Hobie, thank you so much, Doctor. Dr. Harris, but prepare yourself. His condition may be difficult to look at. He is connected to multiple lines, monitors, and machines. The ventilator is loud right now. Everything depends on how his body responds to treatment. All we can do is wait and pray. Gently patted Jin's hand. Stay strong. We are doing everything we can. Jin looked at her with tear-filled eyes. Thank you. While Teacock were busy buying the medicines and injection after searching through the entire city, despite the server waterlogging and the rest of the brothers were talking with Dr. Aris, Jungi slowly stood up from his chair and made his way towards the PICU. He stopped in front of a small glass window and looked inside. The moment his eyes landed on Minnie, his breath hicced. The little boy who used to run around the mansion all day was laying motionless on a hospital bed. His tiny body was covered with wires. Monitors surrounded him from every side. A thick breathing tube disappeared into his mouth. Machines continuously beeped around him. Jungi's hand trembled as he pressed it against the glass. Jungi shouted while opening the door. "What the hell are you doing to him?" What boy rushed towards him. "Sir, you can't enter here like this." Jungi, "Are you out of your mind? Leave me." At the same moment, Teacock returned with the medicine and injection. Hearing Jungi's loud voice, they immediately ran towards the PICU. They found the ward boy trying to stop him. Together, they somehow dragged the furious Jungi away from the ICU corridor. T. Hyang, calm down. What are you doing? You were shouting outside the PICU. Cook, you aren't allowed to enter there. What were you thinking? Jungi, what was I thinking? What are they thinking? Minnie's just a baby. He is the size of a doll. How can they put so many damn wires and pipes into him? His whole body is covered with them. Cook immediately hugged him. He needs those wires and pipes. Rubbed his back. Relax, Hyang. T joined the hug. Minnie will be alright soon. Jungi suddenly pushed them away. How will he be alright? Did you see him in there? His tiny little body looked terrified. Every sound of those monitors felt like someone was stabbing me again and again. And all of this happened because of us. Hearing the confession, Jin, Hobie and June rushed out of Dr. Aris' cabin. They found Jungi standing there and shouting. Jungi, what was his fault? He only poured a little ice water on me. Did I die because of it? No, right? Then why did I react like that loud? Turned towards Jin. He only made a mess in the kitchen. We could have adjusted a little. Cooking food and cleaning the kitchen wasn't just such a big deal. Then why did we react as if he committed a crime? Turn to Hobby. He only sat on your foot. Did your leg break because of it? He was just a little child wanting attention. Then why did we react like that? Turn to June. He only ruined a garden. Were those flowers more important than his life? Flowers can be planted again tomorrow, but if his life is lost, where do we bring it back from? Looked at Cook. Your gadget broke, they can be brought again. Everything can be replaced, but not a life. Then why did we react as if he had destroyed everything? We forget that he was just a child. He didn't know anything. We were the adults. We were supposed to understand. We turned his innocent mistakes into crime. And then we burned him at a place where nobody was even there. If someone left him at our doorstep, what was that his fault? Living this mafia life, we have forgotten what humanity is. While trying to hurt our enemies, we ended up destroying an innocent child. Today he is fighting between life and death. It's because of us. We are the criminals. Tears rolled down his face. I hate myself. How could I take revenge on a child? Instead of protecting him, we left him outside to die in Daddy's room. We were so weak that we couldn't tolerate a few mischiefs. Didn't we all do mischievous things when we were children? If it had been our old children, would we have abandoned them too? How did we fall this low? All day he kept talking in that broken language nobody understood. Today he is laying silently inside the PICU. Can any of us ever forgive ourselves? Can anyone justify what we did? A painful silence filled the corridor. Nobody had the answers of Yoongi's question. Then all were burning in the same worth of guilt like Yoongi. June walked towards Yoongi and placed his hand on his shoulder. June, no, there is no justification for what we did. You are right, we were the adults. We should have understood him better. We should have shown more maturity. Hobby, step forward. If I had been our old children, we would never have done this because our own child would have been precious to us. His pain would have been our pain. We didn't know Minnie. We only saw him as a responsibility. T joined them. We never had experience taking care of children. We didn't know how to handle these small situations. Our lives have always been filled with violence, revenge, and bloodshed. We didn't know how to handle innocence. Cook, step forward. We never wanted to hurt him. We left him at the orphanage because we thought children like him belonged there. We thought someone else could take better care of him. We never imagined something like this would happen. Jin walked towards him. We know what we did wasn't a mistake, it was a sin. But continuously blaming ourselves won't change that has already happened. Right now, we need to think about what we do next. Minnie needs our prayers. The doctors are doing everything they can. We need to learn from our mistakes. We need to become more patient. We need to make our home Minnie friendly. I know we are feeling guilty, but believe me, every single one of us is feeling the same guilt. We can't bear to see Minnie like this either. Stay strong. I know Minnie will recover. He will come back home, and when he does, he will probably annoy you the most by calling you Kitty King every 5 minutes. A small broken laugh escaped everyone's lips. All six brothers burst into tears and pulled each other into a tight embrace. They made a silent promise that no matter what happened, they would protect Minnie, love him, care for him, give him everything he needed, and never ever leave him again. Time skipped after 3 days. The most crucial 72 hours had finally passed. Minnie was now out of danger, but was still extremely fragile. He still hadn't opened his eyes. For the past 3 days, none of the brothers had left the hospital even once. They barely slept, ate, and rested. All they did was sit outside the PICU for hours while waiting for Minnie to wake up. The doctor had only allowed them to see him through the observation window, and every single time they saw his tiny body surrounded by machines, wires, and tubes, their guilt became even heavier. They wished they could take away his pain, they wished they could suffer in his place, but unfortunately, they couldn't. The ventilator machine had kept him alive for the 3 days was finally wheeled away. The thick plastic tube disappeared. Now only a thin oxygen rested beneath Minnie's tiny nose. After checking his vital one last time, Dr. Aris stepped outside ward where the brothers were waiting unconsciously. Dr. Aris, Minnie is doing much better now. He can regain consciousness at any moment, but you need to remember something very important. He may not respond the way he did before. His throat is still irritated because of the imputation tube. His voice may sound weak or slightly different for some time, and after everything he went through, he may feel emotionally frustrated and confused. So don't panic. Don't pressure him to speak too much. Be patient with him. Make him feel safe and comfortable around all of you. Jungi, sure, doctor, we aren't in a hurry anymore. We just want him to feel safe. We will make sure he doesn't take any stress. Dr. Aris gave him a tired smile. Good, then best of luck. All of them entered the PICU and found Minnie sleeping peacefully on the hospital bed. Everyone quietly gathered around him while waiting for him to wake up. T sat beside him on the stool and kept gently poking his cheeks again and again. Cook, T, what are you doing? Don't poke his cheek. T, look, his cheeks aren't squeezy like before anymore. Jin placed his hand on T's shoulder. It's okay, let him come home first. We will feed him lots of delicious food and make him cute and chubby again. Hobie looked at Minnie worriedly. The doctor said he would again regain his consciousness soon, but it's been quite a while already. Why hasn't he woken up yet? Shunki, this little chick knows very well that all of us are desperately waiting for him to wake up. That's why he is purposely acting like this. A small smile appeared on everyone's face. Suddenly, T, who was holding Minnie's tiny hand, felt a slight movement. Minnie's tiny finger weakly twitched. Then slowly he opened his eyes. The moment he saw everyone standing around him, a sweet little smile appeared on his pale face. Minnie, raspy voice.
Ginny, Bear, Cookie, Hoppa.
Shungi, me? You little chick, how dare you to forget me? Minnie weakly tried to giggle.
Kitty King.
Looked around the room.
No big body.
Jin looked around in confusion. June, where did he disappear? Cook shrugged his shoulders. No idea, he was standing here with us just now. T, maybe he broke something again and went to pay the fine. Everyone laughed softly. Just then, June entered the room while running. June, I'm back. Did I miss something? Hobie, yeah, you missed something very important. Minnie is mad. June, sorry. Showed them a penguin Pulsey. I just went to bring his favorite bunny Pulsey. Carefully handed it to Minnie. Minnie, is Big Body still in trouble? Big Body is very sorry. Minnie immediately hugged the penguin Pulsey tightly, but soon he noticed one of its ear was torn. He showed to everyone. Minnie,
Breaky.
T looked at June. Wow, you tore it too. Impressive. Jin smacked June's shoulder lightly. Can't you be a little careful? June, sorry. Hobie, Minnie, I will stitch the ear for you. Don't worry, okay? Minnie,
What? Minnie, no.
Jungi gently pinched his cheek. You little chatterbox, you can talk later too. Right now you need to rest. None of us are going anywhere. You have your whole life left to annoy us. Gently creased his cheek. Time skipped after a few days. Minnie was finally discharged from the hospital. All 6 mafia brothers brought him back home, and this time they brought him home forever. They had already started the legal adoption process. Minnie was still too little to fully remember that terrifying stormy night. To him, it slowly became nothing more than a bad dream, because every time he opened his eyes, the mafia brothers were always beside him. Sometimes he still woke up crying from nightmares, but the moment he saw his Ginny, Hopa, Bear, Big Body, Kitty King, and Cookie, he would calm down again. Minnie had forgotten everything, but Mafia Brothers couldn't. Soon Minnie's cute, mischievous behavior returned, but this time the Mafia Brothers no longer shouted at him. Instead, they patiently explained things to him with love. Sometimes they even joined his silly little adventures, and whenever Minnie accidentally created chaos, they distracted him with toys, games, hugs, and kisses instead of anger. Now the hall no longer echoed with silence. Instead, the entire mansion constantly rang with Minnie's adorable giggles, and for the first time in years, that dangerous mafia mansion finally felt like a real home. The child they once considered a burden, the responsibility they once tried desperately to escape from, had now become the very reason their mansion felt alive. It's not easy to accept responsibility for things that were never yours to carry. Everyone makes mistakes, but only a few truly learn from them and strive to improve. Sometimes God sends people into our lives not to trouble us, but to heal the parts of us that have grown cold with time, to heal these scars we forget to notice, and there is no better healing than a child's innocent giggles. Sometimes the people who look strongest are the most scared of love and responsibility. A child does not need perfection, wealth, or power, only a heart that refuses to abandon them. One cruel decision can leave wounds that last forever, but true love is proven when people accept their mistakes and change themselves. Sometimes the smallest hand teach the biggest lesson about love, humanity, responsibility, and unconditional care. In the end, even the coldest hearts can become a safe home for someone who only wanted to be loved. The end. Author's note. That's it for today. I hope you all liked it. It was the requested story for one shot. I hope I didn't disappoint you. The world can be very selfish. When people don't want to take responsibility for themselves, why would they take responsibility for someone else? Minnie was just a baby who only wanted to make others happy. Whatever he did was meant to help people, but somehow his help always turned into chaos. Frustrated with Minnie, the Mafia brothers abandoned him, but they couldn't stop thinking about him. Seeing Minnie in PICU made them drown in their own guilt, and they didn't take much time to correct their mistakes. I hope you all enjoyed it. We will meet soon with a new story. Till then, take care of yourself. Love you all. If you like this story, then please do like, subscribe, share, and comment. I assure you that you will never gonna regret on your decision. Thanks for watching.